Girl, you the best, and she love me when I'm in it, and she never be pretending, nothing is real. She gon' tell you what she bought it, cause she know you can't afford it. Know you can get it, looking exquisite, no competition, stay on the pivot. Who be watching, they be plotting, she so motherfucking independent. Mama be big, got on her grind, she had to get out her mama house.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the E-Spot with Camille, and I am your host, Camille Cower, and I am so excited to bring to you a Raleigh, North Carolina native, which I'm in Wake County, if you guys don't know yet. And so I'm very excited to bring someone that's homegrown from North Carolina that is now making big waves in the Hollywood, I'm not going to say pond because that's an ocean, over there in Hollywood land. I can't wait to bring him home. Mr. Armie Hicks Jr., how is everything going for you?
Oh, man, thank you so much for having me. Things are going great. I mean, as far as, as much as can be as the situation with, the protests, COVID, but I'm just happy to be here. Thank you.
No, it's my pleasure. Of course, since you're wearing the shirt, I want to start off there, but we have to start at least from the beginning to find out how you got into the film industry and how you ended up making your own amazing short film yourself. So how did you get interested in entertainment?
Yeah, so entertainment has been a lifelong goal and dream of mine. My Uncle Keith, we would spend many nights going to Blockbuster, and we would every Friday night we would rent like 2 films, and he would get a film he wanted to watch. I would grab something, but he would always get like the classics, like whatever was great at the time, Godfather, and he would, force me to watch these films. So from there, seeing all these people travel the world, and I was like, man, that's awesome. I would love to travel, and seeing people like Denzel on screen, like, oh, that could be me. I could be him. So from there, my imagination just grew and my fascination grew. Unfortunately, I buried it for a while, though, actually. As you get older, your environment or other things come into play and become more important. So it wasn't until about 2016 that I rekindled the passion and kind of got back to it and wanted to, dive in.
Yeah. Now, what was that process like as far as getting back into it? What did you do? What was your starting point for entertainment, especially being that you're from North Carolina? I wonder if you did anything here in North Carolina first that other people can also maybe follow in those footsteps, because it's not easy just to jump into LA and start fresh, I would say.
Absolutely.
Unless you did that.
So, no, I didn't.
Okay.
I started researching about agencies. I had a friend of mine who told me that he got his audition through an agent. So I was like, well, that's all the information he gave me. So I was like, okay, let me just figure out this whole thing. And I just started researching so much, and I plotted out like 6 or 7 agencies in a row, like from Google Maps or something. And I just decided I was just going to drive in, and I would go to their offices, and they were like, you don't have an appointment, or who are you? Or this is not how it works. You can't just walk in here and think you're going to be an actor, like go home. So after about, 6 or 7 rejections, I landed with the agency called JTA Agency in Charlotte.
Okay.
And I walked in, and it was like this nice house. Their office was in this nice home. And I kind of walk in and like, hello. And they have like this front desk. She's like, hello, you have an appointment? And I was like, listen, I don't. I've been told no. I've been sent home. I've been rejected. I was like, look, I don't want that to happen. All I want is 5 or 10 minutes to sit down. I want to have a conversation with someone about my goals and what I want to do. And I promise you it'll be worth your time. And she was just like, okay, sure. You got no balls to say that or come, do that. Then sure.
Yeah.
So she was like, just wait here for a second. I went in with the agents. We talked. I told them, what my goals were, that I was a hard worker. I was going to do whatever it takes, and I wasn't going to let them down. So they agreed, and they were like, okay, cool. You got a nice look. You seem like you have a sense of what you want to do. We can help you get there. So they signed me. And I started auditioning, got a self-tape set up in my house, And I had my best friend Bax, who would always help me.
Wait. So wait, how long ago is this that because self-taping is a new thing, sort of. So
This was 2016.
wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
2016. Not long ago.
No, not long at all.
Not long at all.
Like you would be an overnight sensation almost by those standards.
It feels like
Wow.
it. It feels like it. So, to start doing tapes, and then I booked the show Atlanta, in their first season, which won an Emmy. That was excellent. I got, real on set training. I got to be, get training from people who are doing this. And I booked a ton of commercials, industrials. I did theater. And then in 2017, I decided it was time to make the leap to Los Angeles.
So now so you're based out of, you're raised in Raleigh, but your agency was in Charlotte. Did you take any classes here locally, or like what was your process even on that side of it? Just in case people here locally can find out and go there as well. That's why I'm asking.
Yeah. So I went to several colleges. I went to Shaw, I went to A&T, and I transferred to UNC Charlotte. And while there, I did a few classes of film studies. Okay. So took some screenwriting classes, mostly theory, stuff about the history and theory of film. And Rodney Stringfellow, who's a professor there, former writer for Nickelodeon, kind of expressed to me that he felt like I had some potential, and, that this was something that he thought I could be good at, which kind of helped me realize that, oh, okay, maybe he's right,
Yeah. Oh, that's amazing. That's always good to get encouragement, especially from someone that actually worked in the business as a writer, especially for Nickelodeon, no less. Yes. So then 2017, you made the leap to LA. What was your first year like in LA?
Awful.
Yeah.
Oh, terrible. Golly.
Thank you for being honest.
It was awful. Like, I had a friend, he was like, "You come to LA?" I was like, "Oh, you can come stay with me, man. Cool." Mm-hmm. I was like, "Oh, that's cool." And but he didn't tell me he had an apartment on Skid Row. So so he was a property manager of like a halfway house. For people transitioning from homelessness to finding housing. Yeah. So we shared this apartment there. My car was broken into. I had stuff stolen from me. There was nights where I slept in McDonald's parking lots, Target parking lot. I mean, it was rough. I was hard for me to keep a job, find work, have steady income, find my own housing. I had an agent steal money from me from a commercial that I booked. He never paid me. He said, "Oh, they never sent the checks." And then I see on Facebook, all the other actors are, saying that, "Oh, no, they said they sent them. You're stealing our money." Just craziness. And it was a big culture shock. Just seeing all of that, seeing Skid Row, seeing the glitz and the glamour, and being in Beverly Hills, going to parties, and then sleeping in my car right after, and because everyone on Facebook thinks, "Oh, you're making it. You're on TV, and I just saw your commercial, and I just, it looks good, right?" Everyone on social media, they paint that picture of success and glamour, and they never show you the pain and the struggle and the side of it, the not so pretty side of it, the ugly, dark side. So, it was rough. It took me a while to find my footing, but I found me a tribe of friends who were really cool, who had my back, who took me in like family and really showed me the ropes, and kind of gave me a lot of insight and knowledge, and helped me find work, and build relationships, showed me how to conduct myself as someone who was trying to be an actor or trying to be a filmmaker. So I was really blessed for that.
Now, I want to go back to even when you said you were working on Atlanta. You said you got a lot of lessons you learned from working on set there. Can you share some of those lessons for people who are aspiring to be actors? And then I want to hear what tips you would give for people who might be interested in making that trek to LA as well, because It's a lot that you've shared, and I'm thankful that you're sharing this because other than the homeless part, because luckily I had my dad I could stay with, but could have wrote the exact same story for myself
Yeah.
and for most of my friends that travel out to LA.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough, no doubt.
Not easy.
Not easy. Yeah. But what I learned on set was set etiquette and how to conduct yourself. You're a professional. It is fun. It is work. But you quickly learn that these people are professionals and they take it very seriously, and they're not there to play around. And of course, there's time to joke. But learning how to navigate and network too. Because some of these, a director, you want to get them to know your name, and the producers, you want to find subtle ways to network with them so they'll call you back, right? Or be on point with your lines, or hitting your blocks and hitting your marks to the T, so they don't fire you or replace you, or they want to call you back. So basically, a few of the older actors, they really just would take me aside and, hey man, next time you go out there, do this, do that. Try not to be joking, or, think about this. So that was really cool. Because the thing about Atlanta was we had a lot of Black talent that worked there, behind and in front of the camera. So that was my first.
North Carolina.
No,
At all.
no, at all.
I think I've worked with, since moving back in 2007, I think I've worked with one hairstylist that's Black. I know I haven't worked with any directors or photographers on commercial jobs anyway that were Black, or if there were any Blacks on set other than myself, they were playing my child, or maybe I'd get a spouse, but not necessarily on the other side of the lens. So
Exactly.
I'm curious what the difference is, even from going from the South to LA, but even from North Carolina to Atlanta. Like, did you feel like you were almost in Wakanda, almost in the sense of like everybody's Black?
Yeah. So I feel like I had a special introduction because the show Atlanta, the show was so. I feel like Donald Glover specifically fostered that environment, right? Where we had a ton of Black people working. And I feel like if I had maybe worked on, let's say, Riverdale or some other white, I probably wouldn't have had that same experience, even in Atlanta. Even though there's a lot of Black people in Atlanta that work, I don't feel like they still get a lot of opportunities behind the camera. You know what I mean? I did, other shows I've done didn't have that same feel. It was kind of like, it was like Wakanda, it was like Black Panther, where we had, the music that they were playing in the morning to get everyone going was some hip hop, and like, you go to hair and makeup, and they're Black, so they know how to light your skin, and catering and the food that we had, the gaffers, the Best Boy, the electrics. You don't see that often. Even in LA, you don't see that at all.
Well, it's funny because to tell a little bit about myself, my mom was a stunt woman and my father is a movie producer and assistant director. So I started off in the film industry working with them, and it was always predominantly Black shows because they did films like New Jack City, Jason's Lyric, Friday, Who's the Man, millions of more that I'm blanking on right now. And it was almost like I was always used to seeing that. And so then when I started seeing it the other way, I was like, this is different. And like, the way, they still filmed everything the same. Everything, like set etiquette was still always the same, but it just felt more like a family reunion on set in some ways, as opposed to going to school where there's these cliques in some ways, not like necessarily bad cliques, but it was definitely way more obvious.
Right.
This is the cool table. This is, like there was all of that, where on Black productions, if they know you, it doesn't matter where you are, you're sitting with them. Sometimes even not so much with extras, they still would be like extras over there, but sometimes you would just you would not always know who somebody's position was because they would just so
People
intermingle.
mingle. Yeah, people
Yeah, like
mingle.
there wasn't that
Yeah, it didn't
hierarchy.
yeah, and there wasn't that hierarchy. It didn't feel, and you didn't also have that feel that what's the word I can use? That harshness that comes when you're on set, right? Like if you do the wrong thing, like people are not jumping down your throat. Yeah. Exactly. It was a bit more hey, it's all right, cool. But next time, we're gonna do it. We're gonna attack it like this. All right, cool. All right, let's do it. So yeah, but it was cool.
There's been times when I've been on set. Well, there was an incident once where I was like, I am never doing commercials again. I am only doing print work from here on out. It was for Winston's. It was at NASCAR, one of the racetracks. I guess it wasn't in Rockingham, so it was at Charlotte one. And it was for a tobacco brand. I guess Winston's tobacco. I don't really remember.
Probably.
But needless to say, they were so stickler on the words, and I'm dyslexic. So sometimes articles kind of float around in my brain and I might not say the in the right spot, but I get the point across, right? And they were like, nope, you missed the second the in the sentence because it was like legal perfection when it's with tobacco. So I learned from that experience that I'll never do tobacco. But at the same time, I was crushed. Like that had never happened to me. From working with my dad, him being the unit production manager and stuff, I also knew the breakdowns of how much everything costs. So in my head, I'm like tallying up every time they say cut. Like, I'm like, oh, why are you like, this is going to be very expensive. And I was so used to just being like nailing it, maybe the first or second take, because just them wanting to change little small things, maybe location or whatever, nothing usually with me. But needless to say, being on set, I was like, never again. But again, it's a lot more, it can be a lot more warming.
Yeah. We, you know what I mean? So
very casual.
Yeah.
More
ain't gonna go too much further on that because we see what happens.
I'm not saying that white sets can't be fun too, because they are. It's just it's a different atmosphere.
It's different, yeah.
Just like with going to frat parties, black frat parties versus white frat parties. I mean, everybody knows it's different. So anyway, now what was the biggest difference you noticed from going from Atlanta to California, even with working there?
It's a great question. I feel like I don't. It
was about the same.
I don't think there were. Yeah, it's about the same. Like, it's usually the same crews. They're bringing in the crews from Los Angeles and they're just putting them up in Atlanta to just shooting there because it's cheaper. And they're getting the tax credits, and they're, what I mean, like you said, the producer's looking, okay, it's going to cost $2 million to shoot in LA. It'll cost us $1 million to shoot in Atlanta. We'll save some money, send everybody out, do it there. So it often feels the same. It doesn't feel much different working on set. Yeah.
I haven't shot anything in Atlanta, so that's why I'm always curious. Like I came close, and it was some small town outside of Georgia, and it was a little scary because it was for a camping company. And it was like Helen, Georgia. We had to drive through. I don't remember the name of the town, but yeah, my GPS had me on all these dirt roads. I'm like, I don't think I'm really meant to travel too much.
I'll tell you a crazy story. So I worked on this show called City of Lost Slaves, and it was this docuseries that this German production company was doing for the Smithsonian. What is the Smithsonian? Not Smithsonian. Might have been the Smithsonian. I think so. We're shooting up in Virginia, and they're German. They're on the production is German, but it's about slavery. So we're all sitting in these cabins, and of course all the talent is black. And I walk in, and the director, everyone's introducing themselves, and he, hey, how you doing? I'm introduced himself. He walks off, and then he's walking, and I'm talking to all the black guys now, and getting acquainted. And he was like, "Where are the niggas? Where are the nigga pants? Please bring the nigga pants and the niggas over here." And we're just like, yo, what? So we're all getting up. We're all about to and I was like, hold on, wait, guys. I think he's saying knickers, like the pants, like knickerbockers. right?
Yeah, okay.
Because the pants we were wearing were like the crop pants, right? He was like pointing at these crop pants. So I walk up to him. I was like, "Are you referencing these pants?" He was like, "Yeah, the knickers, the knickers." I was like, "Dude, I know you're German." I was like, "That sounds too close to nigga. So call him something else. Call him shorts, jorts, jeans." So he's like, "Oh no, I no offense. No, of course, no. We're from the good part of." I was like, "Oh my
The good part of
God."
Germany.
Yeah, right.
That's hilarious
So
how you actually lived in Germany for 3 years. So
yeah,
that's hilarious. Because they
he was
don't
so
like,
apologetic.
yeah, they
Yeah,
don't have Nazi flags. Like that's outlawed
no,
there. They don't
that's what
play
he told
that
me.
game.
He
Yeah,
said,
they don't play
he
it
said
at all like they do in America.
all down. He said it's all gone. He was like, "Yeah, we don't even talk about it." So he was
Yeah.
like, "No, I would never." So I was like, "Yeah, it sounds too close, man." And you got a bunch of black guys over here in a slave film on top of that. I was like, "You can't be."
We're already feeling some type of
We
way.
already feel some
Yeah.
type of way.
Oh,
We're on an actual like former plantation that still had slave quarters in the back. And they were like giving us tours, like, "Hey, you guys want to come look at this?" Was like, "No, not
really.
really. Let's
Good.
just roll. We'll go home." And so
It's even interesting that Smithsonian flew in people from Germany to film it.
yeah,
Even like that's interesting. I
yeah,
guess they wanted an outsider's complete view.
yeah. Or maybe I think they pitched it to Smith. I think they wanted to make this, and they pitched it to them, and that's how they got the financing and the funding and stuff. So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but that was an experience because we're out. I mean, in the sticks of Virginia, and he's like driving. He would stop and go to like some random cornfield. "Oh, this is perfect. Let's shoot here." And I'm like, I don't want whoever property we're shooting on to come shoot us." And you see us
Oh,
running through the property,
right.
and like, who is y'all? He said, "No, it's fine. We're telling our directors." I was like, "Okay, well, you be
You
the
first.
Yeah, you first."
Oh, wow.
Behind you.
See, that's one of well, not like anybody tried to cast me anyway, but I remember when Underground first was looking for casting and they were sending out information before it even aired. I was like, yeah, Savannah, Georgia. Yeah, I'm good. Like it just was like, and now looking back, well, it was a great show while it lasted.
So
But
yeah.
I mean, it has to be difficult for yourself even to put yourself in films with that kind of heavy of a subject matter. How
Yeah.
do you handle, I guess, transitioning from dealing with such heavy topics and still being able to not take it home with you?
Well, it was easier for me because I played the freed slave, so I was actually helping others escape. So I didn't have to really do none of the whipping scenes or none of the stuff that I'm sure was harder for some of my co-stars. But at the end of the day, you have to look at it as if this is educational. We're doing something good, and you would rather want to portray it accurately and portray it in this way versus someone else telling our stories and getting a chance to disseminate it how they feel. So, at the end of the day, when you're going home and you're trying to like unshed and release it, you're just like, look, you just have to remind yourself like this is for a better cause. And this is, that's just kind of how I dealt with it. And, probably just drink a beer when I got home, but.
Somebody's letting the tea out. Common and Kiki are about to start a project in Savannah, Georgia. Somebody might have to fly back East Coast.
Hey, I don't know. Let's have them talk to my agents to see.
Like, you know how they like to fly in talent for jobs, and you're like, wait, I just flew back where I just lived.
Yeah, but it's always good though, because it's like a free vacation. Because at the time, actually, when I worked on that film, my dad lived in Norfolk, so I hadn't saw him in a long time. So actually, after set, I would drive up and see my dad every night. So that was actually pretty cool.
That is pretty cool. Now let's talk about your transition from in front of the camera to behind the camera. Is your goal to stay behind the camera, or do you plan to keep doing both?
So I plan to keep doing both. So I actually started filmmaking to give myself roles. So like I said, I played a slave, I played an inmate, I played the thug, the robber. Those were the roles that were, especially when I first got to LA. Like I would go and have agent meetings, and they were like, hey, you need to take headshots with a do-rag on, you know, with your tank top, you know, because we're gonna get you on NCIS, you know, you'll be the guy that's gonna, you know, or you know, the ADT commercial, you know, there's plenty of roles out there for the burglars. Those roles are going great right now, you know, because I had very clean cut headshots because I want to be the leading man. I want to be the, you know, I didn't have headshots that portrayed me, not that didn't portray me urban, because I did have some urban photos, but not like edgier photos. So they're like, we got to get you more edgy. And I was like, you know, nah, not really with all that. So I started writing.
When they first were like, 'cause I mean, as a woman, I don't ever really, if I get anything, it's just, are you comfortable with being scantily clad, or like it's more on the sexual side for Black women, and at least for me, and I'm in my 40s, and that's still the kind of stuff sometimes I'll get. So I'm curious about, for yourself, like, how did you feel when you were just like, I have a college degree and you guys are asking me to play roles, that is the reason why I have a college degree. Like, I don't want to.
It's like, it's a double-edged sword, because you're sitting here, someone's telling you, you know, you came out here, you're homeless, you're starving artist, and someone's like, you know, hey, this thing's gonna pay you $5,000, but it's demeaning. On the other hand, you know what I mean? You want to have, you want to, you know, show a better side of you and do better things because you know that there's something greater for you. So I see why actors in the past did it and why they made careers out of it. So, hey, look, this is how I feed my kids. You know, I play certain types of roles, or this is what I do because I get paid a lot of money. And, you know, but I feel like, you know, we're at a point in time, we're in a Black renaissance, right? Like a second Black renaissance where we can have the power to step up and say, no, we're not doing that anymore. And we could demand to be shown in a different light, demand that we actually get to create our own projects, that we get to write our own projects and show ourselves the way that we think we should be represented, and create that. So that just gave me more fuel to create and want to write and want to direct and want to, you know, show ways that humanize Black men and the Black experience, in a whole spectrum. You know what I mean? If we are thugs and robbers, that's fine, long as we're also teachers, lawyers, doctors, if it's more representative of real life. Or not every time you see someone on TV, a Black man on TV is robbing someone. So now the cops, that's in their mind.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Oh, we're gonna,
just for Middle America, where their only access to Black people is TV, and the only seat is criminal. Because so I started college at Meredith College. I don't know if you're familiar, but it's
in Raleigh,
an all-girls school.
Yeah, of course.
All girls, Southern Baptist, predominantly white, and it was like I remember one case where this girl was scared of me and referred to me as colored. She's like, I've never seen a colored in real life. And I was just like, A, we're not called colored.
Right.
And B, where do you live that you've never seen somebody Black before? But it happens. And so if their only images of us are negative, it's so easy for them to believe the media story about us being criminals or just dehumanizing us, like you mentioned. And it's time for that new narrative to come out where we are promoting a more positive and accurate image as well. Because like you said, there's definitely a portion that's thugs, but I mean, that's with every race.
Culture. Every race.
Like everybody has that, you know, group that they don't want to be on camera probably. And those are the ones they always choose for us, whether it's at protests, they're saying they only want to get if it's violent or something is happening. That's when the cameras are rolling, and that's the part they're going to show. They're not going to show the peaceful parts or people coming together, all the different races being a part of it. Like, they're just going to show the worst part of it. So I'm so glad that you brought that up as well, that it's definitely time for those changes, and that you're actually making those changes with making your own films. That, I mean, Circuit is amazing, but I want you to share more about how you got started. Like you were saying that you were tired of being portrayed only in one image, which was negative. And so what was your first, like, this is the film I'm going to make?
So it just, I just started I'm a huge action fan, right? I love action movies. So the first thing I did was like, it wasn't a action film, but it was like my version, right? It was like a robbery. A guy gets robbed. So I just kind of wrote this script, and I was like, all I was thinking was, I'm gonna be an actor. I'm gonna be an actor. This is like the first thing I was doing. I was like, oh, I'm gonna be an actor. I'm writing this. I'm creating this for me. And I just started talking to my friends who had cameras, and then talking to. I was like, who has a prop gun? Who has a car I can borrow? And just asking all my friends to pull their resources together and make this thing come to light. But I was the producer. I was set dress. I was wardrobe. I was hair and makeup. I was props. I like literally, you watch this thing. I did my own makeup. I did, everything. The scheduling. Make sure people were fed. People stayed at my house. I was, so I wore every single hat. I was the editor. It was crazy. It was crazy. It was such an exhausting process. But I finished it. It was decent. It was okay. It wasn't, by looking back on it now, I want to bury it from my YouTube. Hope no one ever sees it again.
I will not post the link. No, I'm kidding. I didn't pull it up.
And then right immediately after that, I did a second film with a slightly larger budget, with a few extra friends, and actually expanded it and did some more things, which was actually more of a comedy. And this was around the time of the protests that were happening in North Carolina. So it was about a cop. It was about a black guy that was also a cop. So he was black and he was blue, and he had to just kind of deal with that racial turmoil. And that was actually my first foray into social activism, artivism, right, as they call it. And I didn't know that was something that I wanted to, because it was a comedy. That was a comedy, but I didn't know that was something I actually was going to find a passion in. And from there, I made 2 films after that about police brutality, then make a circuit about sex trafficking. And it's just kind of become my calling card now.
Well, now that you brought it up, we're going to talk about circuit. So let me see, I can even put the link in in the chat so others can find it as well. I'll play a little bit of it. I'm gonna do it without sound if I can. Oh, nope, I can't.
You don't have parents anymore. Whether you like it or not, you are my property.
Who does she think she is? I don't like her.
So what made you do a film about sex trafficking and human trafficking? I know it's such a big issue right now, but what drew you into it?
Yeah, so my sister, Shantae, she lives in New York. She's a doctor, and she's traveled the world rescuing and restoring girls' lives who've been trafficked. And I always thought that was very cool. She was like a hero, that's super cool. She's been to India, Costa Rica, and the Philippines, and Africa, and all these places. And I kind of saw it as a foreign issue, right? Like, this is something you watch, especially you watch a movie like Taken and stuff, like that stuff happens, and like it doesn't happen in America, right? This is America,
Right.
So she just kind of said to me, along the lines of like, you would be surprised how much it does happen here. So I decided to do a little bit of research into that. And what I realized was that it was happening in alarming numbers, and no one was really talking about it because it was black and brown girls it was happening to.
That's what I was going to say. They don't really show that in the movies either, that it's black and brown girls that it's happening to.
Hold on, pardon me. My laptop is dying. Pardon me. Let me grab my.
Sorry.
Oh, no.
While you're doing that, I'll show a little bit more of your movie till you come back.
all good?
Yes, Daddy. Yes, Daddy.
All right, cool.
Okay, I was playing a little bit more of your film, and I mean, wow. Okay, so your sister's superheroes tells you there's so much, even in America, that is happening to. And so then what happened after that as far as getting
Yeah.
the script and everything?
So I had a script that I was working with that was actually an action script. It was about these guys, these gangsters that find a girl in their trunk, and they go like guns a-blazing to save them. And it was a good script. Thoroughly thought it was actually some of the best work I've done. So I was sending it around for notes and to get notes on it and feedback. And one of my close friends, Sade, was like, if you're telling the story from your male gaze, the story that affects women, it's a story about women, so we need to kind of fine tune it a bit and kind of tweak it in a way. So I took the note. I was like, okay, you're right. So walk me through that. And so basically what we did, we decided to be co-writers, and we just collaborated, and we did like 12 or 13 drafts back and forth, and we completely flipped the story, changed the story. At the same time, I was doing research and partnering with different nonprofits, and also interviewing survivors and talking with girls who had actually lived through this and now who were free. And their stories were heartbreaking, terrifying, tragic. I mean, being sold by their parents, being sold by their, mom, dad, being sold dreams of relationships, and, being flown out across the country only to be trafficked and being kidnapped and all these things. And, I was like, I can't tell just a story about, this is now a movement. This is now a vehicle. This is now something that we could actually save lives. Because you know what I mean? It became less about entertaining and less about even something that I could star in. Like I'm not even in this film, and it became a message for me. And I wanted to really bring awareness and shed light on this. So from there, I brought in, I worked very hard to bring in a lot of woman-led talent to this project. So me and Sade co-wrote. I had my producers, Lauren Harrell, Lisa Mazzata, Sophia Capri, Stella Williams, and they really helped me take it from script and get it to screen. So we had a private investor who gave us a lot of money. Shout out to our executive producer, Thomas Martin. We had a crowdfunding campaign that raised over $14,000 through Seed and Spark. Emily Best has a great platform called Seed and Spark if you guys are trying to raise money.
No, that's funny. I've done. She's actually the reason why I started my show, sorta. I went to one of her events, and I was talking about having the E Spot on the radio and how I wanted to move it to TV, and no one else raised their hand for pitching. So I'm always one of those. I'll raise my hand to anything to get a chance to talk about my dreams anyway. And so she asked the crowd how many people would want to watch my show on TV, and everyone raised their hand pretty much. I think I cried a little bit, and then I think 2 weeks later I started it.
Dope. That's dope.
So,
She's awesome, man. And she was a great champion of our film, supportive, helping people, getting her followers to donate and spreading the word about our film.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. So from there, started putting together, also from like in my time being on Atlanta, I looked for Black and brown women behind the camera, because I know that's an area, it's hard enough for Black women to get screen time in front of the camera, but even harder to get it behind the camera and below the line, so we looked for, just to try to round it out as much as possible. And I mean, this thing just took on a life of itself. Once the money came in, we were able to lock down locations, have a casting process, get our actors and actresses in. I very much wanted to have a dark-skinned actress as the lead. So shout out to Birgundi Baker for coming through.
Of that? Why
Well,
was that important for you?
it's important to me because usually throughout history, dark-skinned girls have been marginalized on screen. Every show had the lead of the show is mixed, and that's great. And we should have all types of Black women in front of the screen. But dark-skinned women, always the villain or the butt of the joke or no lines in the back. So part of what I'm doing is being a change that I wanted to see in Hollywood.
Right.
And I thought start with me.
Yeah.
So
I appreciate that because we have so many others saying such negative things. I wanted to make sure we heard the positive reason behind your choice to pick a dark-skinned actress to play the lead.
Mm-hmm. And there was a lot of things that we wanted to do with this project. I think we accomplished, and I'm so proud of all the work that we did, and everyone's contributions. It was major. We couldn't have did it without them.
You were also singing praises of Birgundi Baker, who's the main character. Jasmine turns into Blondie. I'm bad with names, right? Yeah. And so I was like, Savannah. Jasmine. Okay. Sorry. So Savannah, I guess because we were talking about Savannah, Georgia, that just didn't seem right. So Savannah, Georgia. I mean, not Savannah, Georgia. Savannah as the character. See, there goes that dyslexia helping me out. No, but seriously, how was that process of getting her to? Because I mean, she's on The Chi, and she's kind of a well-known actress. How was it? How were you even able to get her on your show? Did you already have a connection with her, or was it just the luck of the draw, sending out auditions and she was available?
Yeah. So. Actually, I've known her and her family for a while. So part of what I was doing was I actually had her in mind when I was writing the character the whole time. We wanted someone that had the look to play younger. 14, 15, 16 girls are so young, but also the maturity to handle the subject matter. We didn't want to hire kids and then, it'd be they not really understand the gravity of it. You know what I mean? Or if we had to put them in a situation like, the scene where she tries to escape, you know what I mean? Like those types of things would probably be too mature for kids their age. So, she fell right into that sweet spot. So I just reached out to her. We went and got coffee. I told her about my idea, the project. She, was like, wow, that's crazy that's happening, and she was like, I love that. And I'm down. I would, So, then it was just negotiating with her agents and, negotiating, scheduling, figuring that stuff out. But yeah, it worked out.
That's great. I mean, to get the actor that I guess you did have a relationship with her, but even still to be able to write a part and for her to actually, because there's still like a whole team behind people once they get to a certain level that, I mean, even getting interviews sometimes I have to jump through a lot of hoops if there's a team involved where we got to check with the manager and then the press and she's promoting this project right now during this time frame and it's a lot. So I will say that's sometimes why I don't.
Yeah, I think you just gotta just praise God that things happen. I mean, making a film, I will tell anyone who wants to be a filmmaker, like Murphy's Law is real.
Yeah,
like whatever can go wrong will. Right. So it's just a blessing that any film gets made. It was a blessing that, we were able for schedules we had to push things back. We had people drop out. Our crew that we started with, just the pure attrition by the end, we had a whole different team by the time we started filming, because scheduling or conflicts and all types of stuff.
So how long did it take you to film your film?
It was only shot over a couple of days. We shot over 3 days over July 4th weekend last year. So we just had a lot of moving parts, you know, and from our we had a warehouse that we had booked, and we're supposed to shoot there. We had a whole day's worth of scenes there. And he was like, "Oh, you only have 4 hours now." We had to constrain and try to, you know, figure out what we can shoot in just a half a day. And, you know, hotel reservation that we had for our hotel scene. And they're like, "Oh, we double booked, and we actually gave your room away because it was a holiday weekend. We got so many people walking in, you guys weren't here." And now we're having to find another. And, you know, our lead, our DP, our camera girl, was supposed to have a woman DP, but, you know, she had to do a huge tour the night, like 2 nights before. A huge artist wants to take her on tour to film her thing. We had to find someone last minute, and you just got to be a problem solver. You just got to work through it. And you can't get down. You can't let it get to you. You just got to go, okay, cool. What's contingency? What's on to the next? What can we do now? How can we, you know, the earthquake, the big earthquake that happened while we were filming a scene, like craziness. So, you know, you just gotta have, it's like a sprint, you know, you just gotta have the endurance too. It's like a 400-meter, maybe track.
Like a 400 hurdle sprint.
Yeah, like yes, like
you're jumping over a lot of stuff.
But there's like
just
alligators.
Like a whole track and field day. Yeah, you're jumping over ponds.
Yeah. Like, oh, God.
I would say so. Like, from helping my dad, I definitely would say that's a very good analogy. Like track and field, but with not exotic animals, but
like
animals
Jumanji.
trying to kill you. Jumanji.
Perfect. So that is how films get made. It is insane that so like I have so much respect. Like when people come up, "Oh, that movie's garbage, it's awful, it's this and that." I'm like, man, you don't know the fight those filmmakers went through to get just whatever they got. You know what I mean? You don't know what happened. Like I said, we lost a whole day, half a day's worth. Like very important key moments that were lost. You know, like you just don't, things are out of your control.
Yeah. Now, like looking forward to the future, what is your plans next? What do you want to do next?
So I'm working on a TV show. I'm working on several TV shows that I have in development right now. I just signed with a great new agency. I have, you know, I really wanted an all-Black team. That's what I wanted this year, agency and management. So, you know, I have that. So looking at new opportunities, acting wise, hopefully once things open back up, we get the green light to start filming and auditioning for real. You know, some great roles are falling on my lap. Like I said, I've been just writing more now. Got some pitch meetings set up with some great networks that's excited to hear what I have. Circuit is still in festivals, is still, you know, doing well as being on my YouTube channel. So, I mean, you know, people just have to stay tuned. It's a lot in store. That's, you know, great. A lot of good things.
Now, just to go back a minute back to Circuit, how can we help support as far as for every filmmaker? I think even more so for new coming filmmakers. I still think of you as new just because it's 2016 is when you started, which is blowing my mind because I just assumed you had been in the industry at least 10 years to get to the point that I saw on IMDb anyway. And now I'm like, who knew? So what can we do as far as support? Is it just a matter of sharing, promoting? What more would you need?
Yeah, that's for any filmmaker, new, old, young, sharing, supporting, watching. The more eyes, the better. You know, that's always, if there's a new audience that now will be introduced to Circuit, you guys see the hashtag. I don't know if you guys see the hashtag. Circuit.
And I love that you have it selfie style so we can read it without backwards.
So people are like, what does that say? So, you know, the more eyes that people can get on this, if you can share this, if you know people who are interested in this topic, people just interested in film, period, interested in Birgundi, interested in just Black film, whatever, sharing it with them so they can see it and, you know, and imploring them to share it with their audiences. And, you know, just hoping that it resonates and going out and actually doing something when you see this film. You know, a big thing we wanted to do was make it a call to action. Right. We didn't want you to watch it and then start binge watching Game of Thrones immediately after. You know, we wanted you to see it and feel it because it's such an emotional and a visceral experience when you watch this film. Feel something and be moved and motivated to go out and do something about what you just saw.
Yeah, and I'm curious what your sister thought of it, considering she works with those groups of women, and to hear that you were the starting process and probably heard all of the pits and valleys you went through to make it. How did she feel when she saw it
Yeah.
finally? What was her
Very proud of her little brother. You know, she was super excited. She thought that we told a very authentic story, and that was one of the things that we truly, we did not want this to be offensive. We knew that certain parts would be triggering, but we didn't want women to watch this and go, oh, well, that's not how it happens, or that's not real, or we would have done that or this. So shout out to our editor, Claudia Costello, who edited Black Panther, Creed, and Fruitvale Station, who also lended her services to edit this film for us for a very, very low rate. So thank you so much to her. Yeah. Wow. Speaking of Wakanda, yeah. So.
Wow, that had to be, I mean, how did you even get that opportunity? I would
through a mutual friend.
Okay, because I was like, how would you even have the guts? But then you're the guy that walks into agents without even looking up whether it's an open call day or anything, just walks right in and
that's
gets
me.
signed.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess that's part
my
of it.
mom always told me fortune favors the bold. So I'm like you said, like you're the always person that raised their hands. Go-getters, things happen if you're a go-getter, things will happen. Not always happen on your time when you want to, or sometimes I've walked into places and I've been thrown out like Jazz on Fresh Prince. So it don't always work, but
or you find out, oh, maybe this isn't what I wanted after all.
Yeah. It's not, but no, more often than not, you're gonna find yourself doing amazing things, So I'm surprised myself, like you said, like even just hearing you say, like, oh, I don't think you've been in this for 10 years. I sit back, I'm like, wow, like, because when you're in it, I'm not doing enough. Like I'm not, it's not happening for me. It's too slow. So I appreciate you saying that, and that kind of reminds me that that I'm doing a good job. So
yeah, for sure. Because I know, like, I've been in the industry on my own. I say on my own because I wasn't just hanging out on my parents' set, just happened to luck out and get an audition with the director and get a part that way. But on my own, like, it took years. I don't even remember exactly the time frame to go from doing extra work to getting a speaking role so I could get my SAG card. But it was a lot. I mean, it was a lot, and it was a lot of partying roles, a lot of things I would never really do in real life types of roles to get to that point. And granted, my first thing on my own, I was able to be a stand-in for Diane Carroll, and that just kind of set the bar really high to the point where I was like, well, I think I could retire now. I worked with Diane Carroll, like, it doesn't get much better than this, especially like under my parents. I got to work with Cicely Tyson, Oprah, so many other people. I don't want to name people and then get off topic, but it takes a long time usually to get to a point where you can have the confidence to even call yourself a working actor out loud, and then to actually have the IMDb credits to back it up. And now also to have the filmmaker credits as well. Like that, just, you may not think you're doing enough, but there's people who have been doing it for decades who have not made it to the point that you have.
Wow. With that, I'm very blessed. So like I say, with give all glory to God. He's made that way for me. So
and even the rough year you were speaking of, being homeless, and this, like, I remember the first time I went out to LA, I had to lick my wounds and come back to North Carolina, and then like come back with a plan. Like, I gotta have all of this squared away first, because finding housing was impossible. Like you mentioned.
Yeah. It's so expensive.
It's so expensive. But even, I guess, because I have a voice that is white passing, I would show up to places and like, oh, just kidding. We don't vote for black people.
That happens. Yeah, you're on the phone. Yeah, we have an opening, but like when you walk in, actually we just sold it. Like 20 minutes.
And all a year in advance. One guy told me. I was like, a year in advance, really, for $2,000 a month. They pay a year in advance for this dump. Okay,
it's crazy.
It is.
They will. It's a town where they try to definitely marginalize you, and it's crazy.
And I couldn't believe, I don't know if this is still a thing, but you had to pay even for a service to find out where to rent apartments. I can't remember the name of it, but there was like a service you had to pay for to find real rentals that were of the level, and even that was expensive. I think it was like $1,000 to.
Yeah, I mean, it's gotten better. Now with Facebook and social media, to find different housing, but there are still a lot of places that you have to pay to, like, you know what I mean? Find housing. That stuff. So I've never used it, but I've seen people say, "Oh yeah, I paid this amount to find my place," and it's like, oh, wow.
It can get pricey really quickly. I was very, very lucky on that sense. Because I like the last place I brought my dad with me. I was like, I give up. I've tried it on my own. I'm a grown woman, but Dad, will you come with me?
Right.
It's like I
Man
remember
to the
on the
rescue.
phone, he seemed really nice, but I technically didn't have proof of a job, but I could bring my father along to show, dude, she's got the money in the bank. Don't.
Yeah, proof of income. They
Yeah,
want first month, last month, and a deposit, which is equal to a month's rent or more sometimes. Yeah, you'll pay 10 grand just to move into a place.
Pretty much. And it'll be half the size you're used to in North Carolina anyway.
Yep.
So I'm excited for everything that you have going on, and you have to keep us posted on any festivals that circuit will be a part of, so we can make sure you get the most views as North Carolina people want to support you.
Yeah.
And keep us posted. Let us know whatever you got going on, and how can everyone follow and keep up with you moving forward, because it's already almost 7:00.
There. So definitely go to my YouTube channel. Type in Armie Hicks Circuit Short Film starring Birgundi Baker. I'm sure ARMIE. I'm one of the few armies in the world. It's not gonna be that hard to find. You can Google Armie Hicks Jr. And go to my YouTube page. Please watch, like, share, comment. You can follow me on Instagram at Armie_strong to play on the military, but that's ARMIE_strong. Also follow me on Twitter at Armie_strong.
No, it's funny, when I Google you, the film Freeway comes up first. For
Oh,
your
yeah?
video. I don't know what they have in their optimization. I just learned that word yesterday. So that they come
search
up
engine
first.
optimization. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm learning all this stuff. I'm like, I'm an actor and an artist. I don't know computer terms, but I'm learning. You have to know all of it
You gotta know.
Yeah, if you're bold enough to want to do your own show, you got to learn all the business side of it. So anyway, I will post it. For whatever reason, I've copied and pasted and put it in the comments a few times, and it's not showing up. So after the show, I'll do it again, because I know I promoted it already earlier, but just so it's all in one space, nice and easy for everyone to find. But again, thank you so much for being my guest. Best of luck to you out there in the LA streets. Take it easy. Take it easy on yourself. You're doing amazing, and
thank you
so
much.
Proud of you. All right. Thanks again for being my guest.
All right. Have a good one. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, guys, that was so much fun. Thanks again for tuning in to the E-Spot with Camille, and the rest of the week will just be amazing guests as well. You can check my profile a little bit later. I'm going to be posting the rest of the guests I'll be having this week, and some up to next week. It only lets me do like 7 days in advance, so I was trying to get it to the perfect point where I would be able to show a little bit for next week as well. And I'm so excited that you guys are able to join me. Please, like he said, share. The more eyes that get on the E-Spot as well, the better. I really appreciate it. And make sure you check out his movie, The Circuit, and learn more about trafficking in your area, how you can get involved. I think I posted earlier today different numbers. If you know someone that is in this condition or that you suspect might be trafficking, to help, call the number. Snitches don't end up in ditches. This is one of those things that really affects our girls, and we need to protect them by all costs. All right, you guys have a wonderful day, and I look forward to seeing you again tomorrow at 6 o'clock right here on Facebook. Be sure to follow me on Instagram at The Real Camille Cower, Twitter, CK On Air 1, and I will be seeing you guys tomorrow. Thanks again.